I just think that we're missing out on a lot of different components to an efficient delivery by essentially defying gravity. Remember how we talked about forward momentum and acceleration? I'm going to have to use Chapman again, but this is what we're talking about as far as accepting gravity and accelerating our body. As soon as we lift, or as soon as he lifts his leg, notice like the posture of his trunk and his lower half, how they ride together, right? So they drop into that rotation and they ride a limited hip coil. Now your center mass, right? Like your head is throughout the center of your body. So then you can accelerate into that front foot. Boom. When we freaking anchor down to that front foot, look how much force that he has into that lead leg because of his acceleration into that lead leg. Okay. Now, what I see with you, again, is just like that perception of power, trying to feel that drive leg being activated. It's great, but you don't start your forward move until now you start descending. And then as soon as you start descending, hip coil, trunk back, which is, again, it's not really that right or wrong mentality. I just want you to I want to show you what kind of happens as a byproduct of that limited acceleration. Is now what happens with your hip rotation. You rotate your hips before, like drastically before you anchor, right? So this is what I call rotation then front foot strike, rather than what I like to see with guys is rotation into front foot strike. Okay, so you hold pelvis neutral, and then you rotate that front foot right into your anchor point. So it's rotation into front foot strike. Whereas I think with you is you have so much time that your pelvis is just, all right, well, now we're just going to rotate, and then now we drop into our landing. Instead of rotating into your landing, you build, and then as soon as you come down to that front foot, boom, now we anchor and then we launch. Whereas again, you look just that hip coil, you're defying gravity, your acceleration rate is limited. Now watch, you anchor down. So this is where, again, you're putting force into that lead leg. I love where you're at with that trunk. Like I talked about, we're doing a lot better job. But if you just notice, like, how much force do you have in that lead foot, that lead leg, compared to, like, again, like a guy like Chapman, who I know it's unfair, but just notice where his body is positioned as soon as he anchors down. A lot of force into that lead leg, right? So now this is what I think happens, again, as byproducts of this limited acceleration, is that now you haven't really transferred all of that force that you've applied into that drive leg because of what we just talked about. So now that drive leg is going to shoot actively into flexion and not hip extension. And again, we talked about this last time, early launch, right? So early launch, chest behind that lead knee, right? And again, I really do. I believe all of these things that I'm mentioning now are byproducts because you're defying gravity. You have so much time that all of these things are happening. So of course, like when you anchor down and you don't have a lot of force into that lead leg, now you're just going to go into your throw early, not maximizing that shoulder extension that we want, right? Boom. Look at that. Extension. Trail leg stays long. So, all right, man. With all of that being said, I know I gave it to you last time. There's going to be some new components to the momentum and acceleration progressions. I'd encourage you to check those out. Just remember, like, don't defy gravity. Gravity is our friend. Add stability so we can handle the force that's needed to be required to accelerate our bodies on the mound.